Yo! What's up, diggity dogs?
So, for context, Corbin did a response to this video a few years back. It's a little bit lower quality because, you know, his audio wasn't the greatest. It buffered a few times. And it's been a few years, so we're doing a redo, but this time with me and Corbin.
Like redo of Healer?
Exactly. We need to watch that. It's good. Trust me. You'd like it for sure. Let's do this shit.
Hello, and
oh boy, it's a female. We know she's gonna have good opinions. No, but like the thing is like these fucking like corporates, like fucking like Watch Mojo, WhatCulture, this kind of shit. They're always so fucking plake and plake. Yes, plake. That's what I meant. Fake and like plastic is what I was trying to say. So I kind of combined the two.
How dare you make fun of a European woman?
Yeah, I know. Varg's probably gonna defend himself against me 23 times.
Varg's a simp.
Yeah, he sure is.
angry nerds that have seen my title. I'm Ash, and I'm here today to talk to you about all things Bethesda. And more.
Well, I mean, it's only two things Bethesda. There's lots of other things they've done.
Tonight we'll be talking about a little bit of Fallout and Elder Scrolls.
Exactly. But the thing is, right, she's a lion, dog-faced pony soldier. That's not all things Bethesda. That's just their two most popular franchises.
Specifically, how the company now has two flagship franchises under its...
What about Doom? 3. Hold on, let me see. What year? 5 years ago? Okay, so 2016 was out at least, so you could imagine that there was going to be another. Eternal wasn't out yet, but you could still imagine it would be a flagship franchise, even only with two titles that they made.
It's belt evenly split between Fallout and the Elder Scrolls.
It
has got me wondering as to which deserves more motherly, tender loving in the coming years, since neither has a really solidly confirmed installment in their storyline basis for a good long time yet. We've got Elder Scrolls 6 on the way, but...
cut between my legs. Would you look at that?
Elder Scrolls 6, God knows when that'll come out.
Who knows when we're ever going to get that? Huh.
She's relatable. How do you do, fellow gamers?
The company will surely nurture both, but truthfully, which deserves all the hype and which is starting to show its age? I'm Ash from WhatCulture, as I think I've mentioned, and this is why the Elder Scrolls will always be better than Fallout.
Boo!
Please don't kill me.
I'm going to. Watch.
Fallout and Elder Scrolls
in Minecraft
have long since been two sides of the same RPG coin, which...
She's gonna join Lucy Sanchez at the bottom of the Ohio River.
You wouldn't necessarily expect from sprawling high fantasy and nuclear science fiction, but both have a lot of technical blood running through their veins. Fountain. The same fountain of blood. That's a common analogy. Yes, both Fallout 4 and Skyrim use the same creation engine, which I'm sure you already know, to bring their gameplay even closer than ever.
That's why Fallout 4 looks like shit, because it looks like Skyrim.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, the fucking like, Fallout 4, the faces look fucking retarded. I mean, it's kind of, like, in Skyrim, I would argue it also makes it look worse, but, like, with Skyrim, it fits it a little better, I think, than it does with Fallout 4.
There's a wealth of experiences to be had in both games, but for someone that's never really been able to connect with the wastelands of Fallout, it really seems to me like they're putting off a more unique and interesting game for the sake of more sickly radiation-burn landscapes. And Fallout 76 isn't even
time in an open world game that doesn't have dragons.
Yeah, seriously, like, she's like, oh, you know, it has to be fantasy or else it's not really an RPG to me. Like, I'm not really big on the whole, like, anything else.
Looking for as the nuka cherry.
Like, the apocalypse is so much more fucking interesting.
On the cake. The Fallout games are in no way bad, but they quite literally pale in comparison to their competition.
No, they don't. She's gonna go off on the color scheme, but she's just gonna be wrong.
Wandering around the scrap metal towns of Fallout and going through the irradiated wasteland.
In Fallout 3, I thought there was actually lots of different, like, it wasn't all like people are inaccurate when they say it's like, oh, it's just got a green filter. Like, there's lots of lighting, like, things, like, in different locations that look different. Like, in Fallout 3, I think it has, like, there's certain areas where it looks kind of blue. There's certain areas where it looks green. There's certain areas where it looks like a darker green or brighter. Like, there's still lots that they did.
Well, there's some areas that are like gray. The thing is, she's got a point that, like, Elder Scrolls has a more robust color palette, But that's because it's fucking fantasy compared to nuclear apocalypse.
Yeah. And it's it's like why does the color palette make it a better game?
Yeah, it literally doesn't. Like, the world of Fallout is fucking beautiful, like, in its own way. Like, it's beautiful as an apocalypse. Like, ironically, when they added more color, it made it look worse. Like, Fallout 4, when they added all the fucking color and made it all pretty.
And then even more so in 76.
Yeah, like, that's the problem. And, like, 76, it makes even less sense, because, like, 4, I've literally had the argument where people are like, yeah, but it's, like, way after the bombs. But it's like, okay, but what about 76? That's, like, right after. Like, not right after, but it's, like, it's older than Fallout 1, right? So, like chronologically.
Or two shades
Let's listen
of
to
brown
what European has to say.
Yeah, for sure.
and green, and it gets pretty old pretty quickly, I'd argue. There's nothing particularly exciting or breathtaking with the environment of Fallout.
That's just objectively wrong. Like, seeing, like, completely destroyed cities and shit, like, seeing, like, famous places completely destroyed by nuclear fallout, like, that's what makes it interesting, honestly, is because in Fallout, all of the places you can go are places you can actually go in the real world because they all exist. And the maps are pretty accurate, too. Like, I've heard people, like, you know, go to DC, and they'll see it, and see that, like, it's pretty fucking accurate. Like, they obviously scale some things down, and it's not 100. It's not like a 1-to-1, but it's way more accurate than it has any reason to be.
At least in the same way as there is for the Elder Scrolls. The games in that series range from beautiful snowy mountains to little green dells to horrible shadowy caves full of spiders and every sort of grotty bog and...
You can go underground in Fallout.
Yeah, you can go into the fucking metros, or, like, there's, like, bunkers and shit and vaults, obviously.
And also, like, literally the format, like, there's still... Like, I would say there's still, in what I mean by this is that as a game mechanic, there's still dungeons, or like
Well, yeah, there's obviously dungeons. I mean, vaults are dungeons, and fucking the metros are dungeon. Yeah. That's one of the things I have against New Vegas, actually, is New Vegas has a lot less dungeons, and they're not as memorable, the ones they do have.
Like, New Vegas just feels like a barren game. Like, there's so much, like, emptiness.
Yeah, but I'd still consider it better than most, like, Elder Scrolls. Like, I think Morrowind is better than New Vegas, but I do like New Vegas, I think, a little bit more than Oblivion.
Literally, the only game I need to say that Fallout's better than Elder Scrolls is Fallout 3. Like, I think Fallout 3 is just a perfect game.
Field and meadow in between. There is so much...
Oh, you know, I was gonna say this. It's almost like they're completely different settings.
variety.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is that the Elder Scrolls is truly beautiful to behold in its range, whereas Fallout really only offers one brand of thing. It's green and brown. Two brands of thing if you want to get
What about orange, you dumb bitch?
picky. Fallout
And literally
honestly-
blue now.
Well, yeah, and, like, look, she's showing Fallout 4, which is super colorful. Like, look how fucking vibrant this is.
in fictional history, but it's one that resembles our own closely enough to make it all that closer to home. As much as you'd think that would make it more accessible and interesting, all it does is alienate an audience who aren't used to all these American landscapes or...
Well, maybe it's because we shouldn't give a shit what fucking foreigners think. It should just be a game for Americans, goddammit!
particularly interested
All's
in.
my teeth
Once
is
you
rotten out,
reflect
I'll
the
give you a
parallel
wonderful
history, and it
blowjob.
is a sight to be...
Look, if they make one in fucking the UK, then she could have her, like, one that's, like, relatable. Like, honestly, like, the fact, like, I've never been to DC, but I love Fallout 3's setting. So, she's just stupid if she can't, like, relate to it just because it's not in her country.
Behold.
But that said, also, like I said, let's just make them for us then. Fuck the rest of the world.
Yeah, I honestly do think Fallout should stay in America, because I think that's what it is. I think it's like an American
I
game.
agree.
The separation from everyday life is something that the Elder Scrolls excels in, as it
So does Fallout. You saying you live in a nuclear apocalypse?
really is an escape into an entirely new world.
And so is Fallout. Do you have some ghouls down the street from you? Maybe some mirelurks in your pond in the backyard?
This works better for some than it does for others, but for the sake of truly immersive gameplay, a whole new world and things that are unknown to be able to explore seems far more appealing.
I disagree. Like the thing is she's like, oh, it's far more appealing. Like, no, it's not. Like, I mean, it's good. Like, don't get me wrong. I like fantasy. I like a whole new world. But like, the thing is, it's interesting to see. Oh, this is what happened to our world in this timeline. And to act like Fallout is just like a one-to-one of our world is also not 100% accurate, because the fictional timeline has a lot of little differences that make it stand out. Because I'm pretty sure that we don't have the 50s aesthetic anymore, and that we don't have shit like Liberty Prime being built, to liberate Alaska from the communists.
Yeah. Like, it's so fictionalized. Like, It's so far from reality. This doesn't make any. Her point is just wrong.
Yeah, like where's the super mutants at? Where can I find them?
Well, at least to me. Why is any of this important? Well, by looking at the offerings of the Elder Scrolls so far,
Important.
and the enormity of Tamriel, not to mention the entirety of Nirn, it seems that Fallout has...
I like how she says the Tamriel and Nirn, but Tamriel is like literally all there is on Nirn, because Nirn is the planet, and Tamriel is like the one continent. Like that's it. They just have one super country, and that's it. I actually found out I'm wrong on this. There's a couple other continents, but they're not brought up that often, so I was wrong, but there you go. That's literally it. Like, Fallout, in theory, like, again, I think it should stay in the US, but in theory, there's a lot more world to work with if they wanted to go global.
put itself into a little bit of a box. We already know what we're getting.
It's not a box. I'm like, look at this. This is so much more colorful than she's... Like, again, I think it's actually a negative in the case of Fallout 4, but, like...
You really think about it, though, this is sort of like a European versus American thing. Like, this is like fucking... Because it's like, oh, but look how diverse this European land setting is, but you have your stupid American setting.
Right? It's true, because, like, to act like Elder Scrolls is, like, completely, like, not based on our world at all, like, Skyrim is so fucking Scandinavian.
Yeah.
Like, it's blatantly obvious.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's all the Elder Scrolls games are based on European culture, while Fallout's based on American.
Yeah. Although I think Morrowind is sort of a weird hybrid of, like, Muslim culture and European culture.
Yeah.
Because Morrowind's the most unique, is what I'm saying.
When it comes to new
Morrowind's the best one.
Yeah, true.
Which is irradiated wastelands of America. And even if they move to the rest of the world and have a look at all the exciting prospects that they hold, which they should definitely do, it's still going to be more of the same everywhere.
It's literally not. You know, the rest of the world, America, hardly different. I mean, no, literally, objectively not, you idiot. You want to have, like, settings like Skyrim, they'll have those big European landscapes if they went to fucking Europe. Like, again, Skyrim is entirely based on fucking Europe. Like, all of Elder Scrolls is. Like, fucking Cyrodiil is very much, like, medieval, like, England and stuff like that, and a few others mixed in there. Like, it is all just, like, European.
Mm-hmm.
Like, fantasy is very European in its setting. So to just pretend that it's not is to be willfully ignorant.
The American culture is literally European culture and more.
Right.
Bombed with a nuclear bomb. It's not going to be that much different. Then we move on to...
It literally is. When was the last time you went outside and got attacked by a deathclaw? I'm curious.
Practically overflowing with this stuff. The Elder Scrolls has books, artifacts, rooms.
Fallout has books.
There's terminals.
Yeah, there's terminals. There's fucking data pads. There's actual shit. Like, your fucking Pip-Boy gets books put into it when you pick them up. Like, that happens. There's literal books too, like skill books as well.
Yeah, and there's in Fallout New Vegas there is literally readable books.
Yeah, like, she's just stupid.
All sorts of random things cropping up all throughout the game that you can engage with as much or as little as you like.
And that's in Fallout too. Like, she acts like there's no, like, lore stuff that you can go out of your way to find, but I bet you this bitch has never even looked into the Dunwich building. Or fucking, like, I bet you she doesn't know anything about Mariposa.
Fallout, of course, provides these things as well.
Fallout?
Wait. So she's like, oh, it has these too. So what's your fucking point?
We're talking about a little bit of Fallout over here.
Definitely not. Definitely not to the same intricate degree.
I disagree. You're just wrong.
I should have done videos where I took it up the European bomb instead of this shit.
But with like Fallout, there's still plenty of fucking lore you can find, and like unmarked quests and stuff like that. Like, there's all sorts of stuff hidden throughout the Fallout games. You're just stupid if you don't think there is.
It lets you get involved with the socio-economic politics of the whole place.
That's part of what makes it interesting, you idiot.
But literally, the Elder Scrolls just absolutely blows it out of the water when it comes to books and books and books.
So just because there's like physical books you can pick up and read, that there's more of that somehow makes it better. You know, better to have it on books than computer. I mean, kind of based, honestly, but no, she's wrong.
But it's like, but it's like if you actually add it all together, like they're probably not that far off from how much like reading there is in both games.
Right. Like I would agree that Elder Scrolls probably has more.
Yeah, but it's not like that far off. And to say that one doesn't have it is wrong.
Right. Exactly.
Importantly, I'd argue that the newness of Fallout and its relevance to our own timeline kind of serves to its detriment.
What? How is it? First off, it takes place in the future, and the timeline is completely different, so it doesn't have any relevance to our timeline. Because there's
it's just as detached from reality as Skyrim is. I mean, it's like it's still based on an actual culture, but it's making it into something else. Like it's
right. Well, there's entire wars that happened in the Fallout universe that have already happened in our that would have already happened if we were on that timeline. Like Fallout has an entire lore that goes back to present day and has like shit that explains that leading into the stuff that happens in the future.
Also, it's arguable that Fallout is more original. I would say that Elder Scrolls actually does take more from like mythology, while I would say Fallout creates its own mythology with all the mutants and stuff like that. Like it's
right, and like the thing,
like it's less inspired by something.
Right. Well, and I'd also argue that like most of the Elder Scrolls games, they borrow heavily from things like Tolkien and like other pieces of fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Like
but even all that is also by the same things.
Right.
The world in Fallout has been around for only a fraction of the time in the grand scheme of things, in which
really hasn't. Like if you factor in Fallout 1 and 2, which I know weren't Bethesda, I think they predate Elder Scrolls, don't they? Or at least it's close. Let's see. Hold on. Let me look it up. Hold on. All right, the Elder Scrolls Arena came out in 1994. Fallout 1 came out in 1997, so 3 years later. Really not that big a difference.
New ways of life have had to be established fairly quickly. The Elder Scrolls already has thousands of years of lore under its belt from an entire...
Oh, that's what she's talking about. Well, Fallout has tons of years of lore because they made up entire fucking wars leading into the future. You just don't know about it because you've only played the games and haven't looked into the fucking lore at all.
Mm-hmm. Entirely fictional world built from the ground up. That's totally accessible and ready to be expanded.
She really likes that word accessible, doesn't she?
Upon. There are even places like Sovngarde and the Daedric realm should the mortal...
You mean Hell and fucking Valhalla? You mean those things? Those totally original concepts do not steal?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's things like Sovngarde, Valhalla, or the Daedric realm, which is called Oblivion, you stupid bitch. But it's Hell. Like, these things are already things in our lore. What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's literally more derivative, if anything, than Fallout is.
Boring to mess around in. There's less establishing time for fans of the Elder Scrolls, as those who know everything will very easily be able to get into it, and those who aren't bothered can just literally slip into the easy fantasy of the whole place.
You can do that in Fallout too. Like, the characters know nothing about the history in the games. Like, legitimately, there are things they get wrong. Fucking Abraham Washington, when he sends you to get shit for like his American Preservation Society or whatever, he has all sorts of things wrong about it. Like, he completely does not understand what the Declaration of Independence or anything else is about. Like, they assume that planes existed when the Declaration of Independence was signed. Like, they literally, like, that's the thing, is the characters don't know what's going on, but they still have their own made-up stories, like Futurama when they talk about the past. Like, you can easily get immersed in it without having to know everything about it. Like, you don't have to know about DC to enjoy Fallout 3.
Not really much explaining to go on, and you can have it as casual...
You don't need any explaining because it's a fucking wasteland. You just go out, you kill mutants, you go to settlements, you fucking do quests. What explaining do you need?
It plays...
Yeah, like Oblivion and Fallout 3, very similar gameplay-wise.
One has guns.
Right, which is way cooler.
As you like. Fallout, on the other hand, needs contextualizing a lot.
It literally does not. You don't have to know fuck all about the area.
Because the point is that you're supposed to be in this new... Like, you don't understand the past. Your character wouldn't understand the past.
Right. Like, if anything, just seeing, like, destroyed areas, if you do recognize it, is just a little bonus for you for having that knowledge. Like, you don't actually, like, I know fuck all about, like, a lot of the areas in Fallout, because I've never been to DC. You know what I mean? I know of... I've been to Vegas, and I've been to Zion's National Park, which is where, you know, Honest Hearts takes place. But that doesn't mean I know, like, for instance, I've never fucking been to Boston, but I can slip into the setting of Fallout 4 real easy.
Well, yeah, what the hell is she even talking about, though? She's from where she's from where Elder Scrolls would take place, and we're from where Fallout would take place, and then she's like, oh, but Fallout's the one that isn't relatable to her?
Right.
I mean, it's too relatable for her? Well,
yeah.
Like...
I don't know. Well, she's like, it needs context. It's like, no, it fucking doesn't. It's a wasteland. Does Mad Max need context?
Obviously, Fallout's world is interesting. I am not denying that at all.
You kinda are, though.
It's a really cool idea, and it's one that's fun to explore.
Look at all this color. That fucking jukebox, the fucking like pool table, I like
it's like saying subtlety is worse.
Isn't the same as the Elder Scrolls, and the more they try and build on it, it just doesn't stand up to the same sort of standard that the Elder Scrolls has.
You know, they did tests on people with like bright colors over more like subtle colors, and like being exposed to bright colors actually makes you more retarded.
Really? Is that why there were all those fucking parents that thought that SpongeBob made you retarded?
Maybe.
Part of this might be Bethesda's coming into it quite late, but still, arguably the most important difference in these two franchises is their personality and your ability to be able to impose your own idealized gameplay onto the established.
Right, and imposing yourself is way better in Fallout because the speech function is night and day. The speech function in Elder Scrolls sucks dick. Like, it's basically non-existent. It's like you just bribe people until they like you.
Yeah, and in Skyrim, it's like, here's two choices, and both are the same.
Whereas Fallout, like, granted, Fallout 4 is a much worse example because of the fucking weird dialogue wheel.
But even that's better than Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, even that is better than Elder Scrolls. Like, if you're talking, like, inserting yourself into the game, Fallout is so much easier to immerse yourself into because the speech function and interacting with characters and just all of the other skills and stuff, like, don't get me wrong, Elder Scrolls has its skills, right? Lockpicking, stuff like that, whatever. But Fallout has so many more of those types of skills that let you interact with stuff. Like, Fallout has more of those mini-games, which, you know, some might argue is a detriment, but I think that they work really well with Fallout. Like, it's funny, too, that Skyrim literally copies Fallout's lockpicking system.
Yeah.
Universes.
Which I think Elder Scrolls should have stuck with the older ways of doing.
Yeah,
Either the way Morrowind does it or the way Oblivion does it, I think fits more with Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, because, like, the minigame is better in Oblivion, but in Morrowind it's literally just based on your skill.
The heart of it, the key choice between the Elder Scrolls and Fallout is whether you like manipulating worlds or manipulating individual experience, and there's a wealth of different things to be able to be gleaned from both of those options.
No, like, you're not really manipulating worlds in Elder Scrolls. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Because, like, if you're talking about world building, like literally building shit in the world, Fallout 4 has that outclassed. Like, Fallout 4's craft system is way more dynamic.
Fallout is a game of taking what you can from the world around you. It's about exploring, establishing settlements, wading through irradiated lands, taking on radiation, fixing yourself from it, going back out there and getting some more. It's about what the world inflicts upon you and how you deal with it and how you can make your own path within that world as well. You're a survivor. Right,
and that's also what Elder Scrolls does. Like, it's a different setting, but it's not like you can just change the world in Elder Scrolls. Like, the closest thing, maybe, is the Civil War questline in Skyrim, and even then, there's just two sides. And you just pick one and then do the quests.
Like, obviously, Fallout has more choices.
Right, like look at this, like, fucking New Vegas. Look at the factions in New Vegas compared to the factions in most Elders. Like, honestly, like, Elder Scrolls has great factions, don't get me wrong.
Like, your decisions in the Fallout games are so much more impactful.
Right. Like, fucking Fallout New Vegas, you decide the entire fate of the Mojave.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with Skyrim, you just fight a big dragon. Or with Elder Scrolls, you just take Martin, to the city, and then he fights a big Daedra. And then Morrowind, you fight Dagoth-Ur, which is the coolest one. But also, like, Morrowind is just the best one just to bring up in general, because you're literally like Dark Elf Jesus reborn.
Yeah.
Awesome. Other survivors where everyone is spending for themselves, so it's not really a case of being the chosen one or a special little guy. It's a case of you.
What about Fallout 2? What's the character's canonical name in Fallout 2? I forget. If you don't know the Fallout 2, the main character's name is literally the chosen one.
Yeah.
Surviving, that's the heart of it. It's survive in a horrible, nasty, post-apocalyptic wasteland. The Elder Scrolls and the...
Again, she says that like it's a bad thing.
On the other hand, is about individual experience. There's already an established civilization.
How is it about individual experience? The speech system is virtually non-existent. All of the factions just have pre-programmed quest lines that you just do. Like, I mean, granted, like, you can... In most Elder Scrolls games, well, not most, but in Skyrim and Oblivion, you can join every faction simultaneously and not have it matter. Like, with Morrowind, which did it better, you have to choose. Like, you know, in Morrowind, you have to choose between the Thieves Guild and the Fighters Guild at one point, because there's a quest where you literally have to pick, because whatever you do, it'll piss one of them off.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing is, Morrowind, you can't be in every faction at once, whereas with Oblivion and Skyrim, you can be in the Dark Brotherhood, the Thieves Guild, the Blades, the fucking, Fighters Guild, Mages Guild, all at once. Which, granted, I like that too, but, like, you can't argue that that's more of a personal experience, because you're literally just doing everything. Whereas in New Vegas, you piss off the Legion enough, you're not going to be able to stay in the Legion. You piss off the NCR enough, you're not going to be able to stay in the NCR. And if you piss everybody off, your only choice is Yes Man.
And all these things where there's hierarchies
I
and
like
monarchies.
when you do screw up your own plans in New Vegas, though, and Yes Man's like, wow, you sure are making this a lot harder.
Yeah. Who am I to question it? I love Yes Man.
Various different things that make it quite easy to slip into as an individual character.
So does Fallout.
And in this case, you are the chosen one after all.
Again, what's the name of the guy from Fallout 2? I forget.
Combat is deeply personal rather than conducted through the VAT system. You customize from 10 races down to your very birth sign and follow a narrative.
Ah, yes, a fantasy game has fantasy races. Yeah, there is
there's literally Fallout.
Yeah, there is magic in Fallout, and there's fucking Lovecraftian like deities in it too.
Yeah.
That stems from what personality you want to project onto the
How can you project personality when you don't have any fucking speech options?
gameplay. There's a difference between the two in that one is a world and one is a personal experience.
The funny thing is when she was describing it earlier, I thought she was describing Fallout as the personal experience, because that made way more sense, because Elder Scrolls, you're literally just exploring a big world, too. The way she described it, I honestly thought she had them flipped, but then when she started, like, explaining more, I'm like, oh, she's just wrong. Because the thing is, both of those things could be applied to both, depending on how you look at it.
And whilst both do mesh and cross over...
Yeah, that's why it's a bad argument.
That is a key difference between...
No, it literally isn't.
The two games.
It's not.
It's up to you. Fight trolls, nuke giants, or do neither. The world of gaming is exactly what you want to take from it, and whilst I am
Gamer.
certifiably dragons over
You do
Deathports,
know how open world games work, right?
Right?
son, you might have a completely different opinion. Of course, this boils down to exactly what you want from a game too. It's just undeniable that The Elder Scrolls 6 will offer something completely game-changing in whatever setting it comes across in.
I doubt it. I honestly think Elder Scrolls 6 is going to suck.
It's just going to be bigger Skyrim.
Yeah, it's going to be bigger Skyrim, and it's just going to implement, like, the crafting from Fallout 4, probably, and they're probably going to take some of the stuff from Starfield. Like, they're just going to keep expanding on what Skyrim started, because Skyrim started Bethesda down a bad path. Like, I like Skyrim a lot, but Skyrim was the start of everything wrong with modern Bethesda RPGs.
I think Skyrim worked on its own and just do something fucking different.
Yeah, and then Fallout 4 is just Skyrim again, but in Fallout. And then,
It'll probably be more like Elder Scrolls Online, where all the dialogue sucks ass.
Yeah, that too.
So much scope for this game and so many possibilities that it is eye-watering to think about. Again,
Okay. Eye-watering? Like, are you tearing up? Or are you saying it's a strain on your eye because you're trying to read it all?
I should
Are you smelling
stress that
farts?
I mean, she looks like it. Look at her nose here and that face. She's just
That's a European... Look at that European woman.
Oh, yeah. We gotta earn the respect of a European woman, don't you understand?
I am a fantasy fangirl. You might be a science fiction bitch. That is fine. Either is fine.
It's funny because like I've completely switched sides, right? Because back when you did this response, I was all Elder Scrolls is better. Now I'm all Fallout's better because like I completely changed.
Mm-hmm.
But it's because I actually played the fucking game. Whereas like, granted, like I played Fallout 3 a little bit and New Vegas a little bit back in the day. Like, but I never beat it. And once I actually played through it all the way and actually learned how to play properly, I realized it's definitely better. Other than, Morrowind is on par with, like, granted, like, don't get me wrong, I love the Elder Scrolls. It's great. But, Fallout is just so much more interesting because Elder Scrolls is just like, here's a bunch of elves and fucking orcs and shit.
Both are fantastic. I love science
And
fiction
also,
too.
like, the fictionalized versions of, like, a lot of these things are I feel like, a lot less interesting than the actual mythologies they're based on.
Right.
I think, like, these people just aren't, like, good at actually capturing these mythologies.
Right. And the thing is with Fallout, like they have original creatures. They don't have to worry about, like, mythological... Like, they're not going with generic fantasy creatures. And granted, neither's Morrowind. That's why Morrowind is the standout, right? Because Morrowind's got its own set of unique creatures.
There is stuff to be gained from both of them. But The Elder Scrolls is a fantastic game, and, in my opinion, it definitely pushes its weight above Fallout. Offering beautiful landscapes, intricate personal storytelling, and thousands of years worth of
personal storytelling. You're the chosen one. Every time. You are the savior of the world. You. Every single time. Mm-hmm. Like, she kept bringing that up as, like, a positive, but it's like, could they get some new material? That's the thing. Fallout, every protagonist has a different role.
Yeah.
Like, in Fallout 1, you're literally just trying to get water to save the people you grew up with. Mm-hmm. In Fallout 2, you're the chosen one. In Fallout 3, you're a fucking kid who just got out of the vault and is trying to find his dad and then help his dad's dream come true. Fallout New Vegas, you're just a drifter who gets shot in the head, gets revenge, and then has to choose between factions to help with a battle over the Hoover Dam. In Fallout 4, you're a soldier whose son got killed, and then you're trying to find him. So it's more similar to Fallout 3, admittedly, but it's still unique. Like, each Fallout protagonist is distinctly unique. Whereas every single Elder Scrolls protagonist is just like, oh, you're the chosen one.
Also, you're always a prisoner.
Yeah, that too. I like that, though. I want them to keep that trend.
Yeah. I think it's iconic to the series.
Yeah.
Or in whatever time period so chosen, Bethesda has proven time and time again that the entries into the series will rise up to the challenge and Fusro it into tiny little pieces. The next
haha, funny.
proper title
I like
of either of
ragdoll
these games
physics.
will herald something we've never seen before. But whilst we wait for either to arrive, it is the Elder Scrolls that looks like it's going to be able
This bitch looks like Miss Piggy.
She looks like what?
Miss Piggy.
Miss Piggy, yeah. Well, I was gonna say her nose is, like, perpetually stuck up in the air like a fucking snooty bitch.
to grow and please its
I
audience.
look like a lady who likes cakes and chocolates.
Be constrained by its setting. You can read more about this on a more detailed article online, as well as talk about it with me in the comment section below. We can have a whole discussion. Do you think Fallout's better? Do you think the Elder Scrolls are better? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and as always, please come back for more. I've been Ash, this has been WhatCulture Gaming.
I think she's played like 5 seconds of Fallout.
Yeah, I think so too. I like this guy with official Todd Howard 69. Fallout is more philosophical. What with how it depicts different people's reactions to a hellish world. Elder Scrolls is more adventurous, as Fallout's world is a mirror of ours. Pretty much, yet Elder Scrolls is an alien universe, thus making it more mysterious and fun to explore. Both are amazing franchises in their own ways. It simply depends on your mood. I like this guy more. Fallout isn't limited by its lore any more than Skyrim is. The problem is treatment. Fallout's world progressed in New Vegas, and then Bethesda took it back. They ignored the time passing despite, well, time passing. I mean, yeah, that is true. That is actually an inconsistency in Fallout. But that's just because, again, Bethesda, they just wanted to make Skyrim but Fallout. That's why Fallout 4 is a problem. Because, again, Skyrim set the precedent. Like, Fallout 4, again, I like Fallout 4, but the reason it is the way it is the fault of Skyrim succeeding. And the reason that Fallout 76 is the way it is because Fallout 4 succeeded, based on what Skyrim succeeded with.
You take forever to say nothing.
Subscribe, the Fugitive Redeye.